Well, while we have the host of the Emma Sports Vigeland Network on with us, I couldn't help but ask you at least one question about the Olympics. And what I had originally intended to ask about was how women's sports are having a huge moment right now. And I think it's
Yeah.
pretty exciting. I think they dominate a majority of the headlines outside of the new dream team in the men's basketball court. You have Simone Biles, you have Suni Lee coming back from the liver failure. You have the Guatemalan woman who got the first ever medal. Lots of storylines. Brittany Griner back in action. So many stories that you could follow. And I feel like that comes in the wake of the, Caitlin Clark phenomenon, the Angel Reese thing. I live in Kansas City. Women's soccer is going bananas here with KC Current. It seems like for the first time in my life, people are paying attention to women's sports for all of the right reasons and not the weirdo wrong ones. It's like, yeah, dude, women's sports are actually really compelling. I grew up a UFC fan. They've had a women's division for the last 20 years. It's awesome, right? If sports are sports, and once, you relate to regular people on regular grounds, I feel like they start to get that. However, there has been the Republicans being Republicans, and I wanted to just dogpile on this with you because this is absolutely insane. There's this woman, Imane Khelif, I believe is her name. She is a boxer, and she has a condition that, basically messes with her testosterone, right? It's not really any different than Michael Phelps being a genetic phenomenon that makes him incredibly good at swimming. You wouldn't disqualify him because his arms are longer than his legs, and that's unique, and his hands are bigger than his feet, and that's unique, and all this kind of stuff, right? But when a woman has a special genetic advantage, it's like, oh my God, she's trans. This is a travesty. So this is a disgusting account called End Wokeness, right? But here's this, boxing match that's been going around where they say Angela Carini is forced to box against a biological male. She quits after just 45 seconds and cries hysterically after her opponent is declared the winner. And I'm like, I know you guys have never watched boxing in your entire life. This lady got fucked up, and that's true, but she got fucked up by another lady in the Olympics, and that's called sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was your reaction to this? And honestly, I just feel horrible for this poor woman who's trying to go on an Olympic tear, and everybody's pretending that she's a man because of her biological condition. I feel like in any other realm, that would be completely unacceptable.
Totally. I mean, so Matt Binder mentioned this story on the show, and I had admitted that I hadn't been able. I'm so much going on right now. It was hard for me to zero in. But I totally agree with you, and it is just incredible because the right doesn't seem to focus at all on trans men. They don't care about that whatsoever. They just care about policing femininity and policing women, because God forbid the right sees a trans woman and they might get turned on, or they might think she's hot, right? That is like this gay panic in their minds that I think
that actually leads to a lot of violence against trans women. It should be noted that typically the lash outs occur after a man they try and hit on them. Maybe it's a woman that's a sex worker, and they're trying to negotiate
and
with
they
her,
finish
and, then
and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And then they freak out, and then they beat the out of them, because
it's the same thing with gay guys. It would be like a gay sex worker too would also, like, they may do and once they're done, they would get killed on occasion because of the shame that the person who was having sex with them would feel. So I think that that's very much the underlying kind of anxiety here for the right. The other underlying anxiety is that their masculinity is often tailored around protecting women and white knighting and protecting for a certain kind of woman. Like, I give this example a lot. So back when that Jordan Neely case happened, and he was choked to death on the subway by that man who was a former Marine.
And that guy got to walk, right? Nothing happened to that guy.
I think it's still ongoing, but he's been heralded, of course, a hero by the right. And, apparently when someone makes you a little bit uncomfortable in public, it's okay to execute them on the subway. So insane. So I told the story of an experience that I had maybe a few months ago or a year. I forget exactly when it was, when I was on the subway, which I take public transportation every day in New York City. And a lot of people who don't live in New York like to talk about New York City a lot. And I said that there was a man who was having an episode, and he sat next to me and then thrashed around, and his arm flailed and hit me kind of hard in the face. And I moved away, and I said, I would never have wanted that man executed. This is an incident that happens sometimes when you interact with people in a large city, and all of that. And I gave that commentary. And Ben Shapiro talked about it, actually. And he flipped out and was like, this woman just wants you to feel you got to be woke. You got to feel unsafe on the subway, all that kind of stuff. And all I said was, no, I don't want some dude to come out of his way to summarily execute this person who's clearly having an episode because they may have made me feel a little bit uncomfortable, which has happened before on the subway. And
Yeah.
I was just trying to analyze that situation. And I realized that the right was freaking out and it was going viral for them. Which never happens. They never comment on my stuff, like a guy like Ben Shapiro, because I look a certain kind of way. I look kind of like maybe like a woman that they would think
One of
like,
them.
oh, I'm one of them, and I'm the kind of woman that they're told your masculinity is defined by saving me from the scary black guy, right? Or whatever, this scary homeless person, whatever their race may be. So when it comes to trans women, they it literally it makes them feel like, what is my worth? You know, if femininity and masculinity are not defined in these set ways, and in women's sports there may be somebody who was born biologically male but who is actually a woman, who in their minds is going to be competing with the purest white ladies who are there, or not, it's usually white, but purest ladies who are just there to be the objects of our desires for us to protect them, right? It never is about the agency of the women who are competing. It's never about their individuality. It's about what these guys project onto them. And so I see that so much with the trans panic, which is the idea that they can't police or understand femininity in the way that they previously did, and that their identity as men, as it relates to like being white knights and protecting women, is under threat in some way by these expansive definitions of gender.